Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris, and next year, 2026, is a major anniversary for LEGO Ninjago. It's turning 15 years old, and I am sure that LEGO is going to do something big to celebrate the 15th anniversary. And so before we actually get any leaks or rumors about the actual set wave, I decided to put together my dream wish list for the perfect anniversary LEGO Ninjago wave. So how exactly am I going to do this? Well, I decided to give every single season and special one set. I tried to be a little bit realistic with what I was trying to pick, so not every single set is going to be massive and over $100, and I really tried to distribute different price points along the way. So we've got some $20 sets, $30, and then so on and so forth, and of course, we have some much bigger sets as well, plus a city. And so, altogether from seasons 1 to 15, the first 3 seasons of Dragon's Rising, plus Day of the Departed and The Island, that brings us to 20 dream sets for LEGO Ninjago's anniversary. Again, this is before I know anything about the anniversary. I don't even know if we're going to be getting older sets based off of the previous seasons of the show, but I think the 15th anniversary is the pretty perfect time to do it. And so let's say we bring back Ninjago Legacy. These are the sets that I want. Let's go. Alright, so this is a video I've been wanting to do for a really long time, and I know in the intro I had said I wanted to get this out before any rumors release. Well, obviously, if you know the rumors, we do actually have some rumored lists for the January wave of Ninjago sets, and while that might be covering one of the sets here, I figured it was still worth putting out this video because I wanted to talk through what my dream wave of a Ninjago anniversary set wave would look like. Now, there's a couple of rules that I thought about when going into this. The first one is that it had to be a relatively realistic, and there's a bit of a stretch of the word there, but as close to a realistic set wave as possible, which means that I couldn't just propose 20, like $100 or $200 or $300 sets and say, I want a UCS this and a UCS that. I tried to actually do a pretty wide spread of small sets, so some $10 sets, $20 sets, 30 sets, 40, 50, and then go all the way up to like 200, but then not have that many gigantic sets. Really trying to say, well, how could these be realistically distributed throughout an entire year? So obviously, while a lot of things in this list are not realistic to what LEGO would do, I think I did try to just adhere to as close as possible what guidelines I could put in for myself to make it happen. The crazy thing is, the other thing I will say is that I can show proof. I wrote this list like a week and a half ago, before we had any news, before we had any rumors, and I guess you could say that it kind of was teased, but my number one spot, to spoil it, for the pilot season was a remake of the 4 Weapons Blacksmith, and we now have a rumor leak that that is in fact actually coming next year, and I promise I had literally no inside information. I think I literally just predicted this set on the list, and I'm gonna keep it in there because, you know, if we're actually getting it, which is what the leaks are saying, it makes sense to just have it in this list because it is genuinely on my Dream Ninjago set list. So that is in there, which is kind of crazy to see. But going into this, the way I set this up is that I wanted to make one set to either represent, or not even fully represent, but just one set drawn from every single media installment of Ninjago we have gotten to this day. Is this what we're actually getting for the 15th anniversary? Absolutely not. From the way that rumors are looking, we're going to be getting like 2 or 3 anniversary sets in January, maybe more in the summer, but definitely not a wave of like Legacy being brought back again. So it's not what's actually happening. So this is just kind of like a pipe dream. What could be, maybe they could reuse some of these ideas or have this be used for the 20th anniversary. But for now, here's what I said. From the pilots all the way to Dragon's Rising Season 3, all the installments are pilots. Season 1, Rise of the Snakes. We have Season 2, Legacy of the Green Ninja. Season 3, Rebooted. Season 4, Tournament of Elements. Season 5, Possession. Season 6, Skybound. Day of the Departed. Season 7, Hands of Time. Season 8, Sons of Garmadon. Season 9, Hunted. Season 10, March of the Oni. Season 11, Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu. Season 12, From Empire. Season 13, Master of the Mountain. The Island. Season 14, Seabound, Season 15, Crystallized, and then Dragon's Rising, Season 1, 2, and 3. So that puts us at 21 different sets that we are considering here, again spread out across all different price ranges. And what set would I want to see from Legacy in a somewhat realistic manner, keeping into account some LEGO mold budgets, the amount of new element frames they get per year, and etc. So let's jump into the pilots, and this one is super easy because a lot of people have been wanting this. We've never really gotten it as a LEGO set other than a very inaccurate Blacksmith shop set from 2011, but I want a 4 weapons Blacksmith. So for me, this set would be the 4 weapons Blacksmith. In my initial list, I had put this at around $50 because I didn't think you needed that much of a budget to depict it. It's not the biggest building in the world. From the rumored list, this is apparently going to be much larger, but again, it also looks like this is only 1 out of 3 anniversary sets. So what we're actually getting next year is going to be even bigger, which I'm excited about. But for now, for the purposes of my list, let's put this one at $50. We're going to get Blacksmith Kai, who's hopefully with an actually accurate torso this time. Classic Nia, I think that's pretty much just a regular outfit. They could do like a legacy version of the classic Nia outfit. Wu in his classic garb as well. I would love to see them do Samakai again, and I feel like obviously they didn't do Samakai for Day of the Departed because the molds were gone, but they could introduce a new mold for Samakai, and I would love to see them do that. I think it is a character that people really, really want to pick up, so I want to see him there. It wouldn't be the same mold as before, but it'd be like a legacy version, and just throw in like 1 or 2 Skulkin. If you're limited on budget, just throw in Samakai plus 1 Skulkin and call it good. I don't care who the Skulkin is. It could be Cruncher or Knuckle. It could be just a generic one. Just one to add in as a villain opponent. The way I see this is that it would be a playset with a show-accurate blacksmith shop, and I guess we got this teased in the bounty in this form of a sticker, so a lot of people saw it coming. It was obviously a prediction on my end, but I think it was an informed prediction. And I would love to see, there's a little bit of an area off to the side of the blacksmith shop. It's kind of this archway with like a circular area and a garden. I really want to have that be factored in as well. Plus the water tower, I think would be really cool to have next to it. There'd be some feature where the sign like falls down or flips open to reveal the map. Inside, I really want to see the Hands of Time symbol that when we revisit the location in Hands of Time, we see that all along there was this symbol on a gong. I want to see a sticker with that symbol, and honestly, if they wanted to go really crazy, I don't think they would do something underneath it, but even just a side room that has the fusion blade of fire and water from Hands of Time, which was underneath the original blacksmith in the show, that would be really cool to see. So $50, that's my pitch for a pilot set. Okay. Next up, we have Season 1, and obviously we have Ninjago Legends as a new theme, and I wanted to select a very limited run of Ninjago Legend sets. Obviously, it'd be really cool to have Legend sets for everything, but I said, I'm going to pick 3 seasons for Legends sets, and I'm going to explain why I picked these 3. Again, we're going in order of seasons, so first of all, we're going to get a set simply called The Great Devourer. Or maybe Garmadon versus the Great Devourer, but I would just call it the Great Devourer. Call it that. Make it a Ninjago Legend set. I'm going to call this at $120, which is the same price as the Fire Mech, and the way that I see this, it is a large-scale diorama of the Great Devourer to like minifigure scale-ish form wrapped around a crumbling building. And all it needs to do is include 1 minifigure, a legacy version of Lord Garmadon with 4 arms, holding each of the 4 golden weapons in 1 arm. And I would love to finally see a show-accurate Scythe of Quakes. We kind of got one for Crystallized, but it had the very narrow, like, inner part. I want to see, like, a legit Scythe of Quakes from the show. Even the Nunchucks of Lightning, like a legit Nunchucks of Lightning as well. The Sword of Fire is perfect, and the Shurikens of Ice, like, it'd be nice to get a show-accurate version with the dragon details, but I'm also okay with just using the Shuriken piece, because that's kind of small. I don't know how they would clip that into the hand. But Lord Garmadon standing on top of a building and facing off against the Great Devourer, like kind of roaring at him. I think that'd be so cool. We did get a physical Great Devourer as a set, but he was kind of lame. It was kind of a small side build as a side build of the Epic Dragon Battle, and I'd love to see a legit large-scale Devourer. I mean, if you had extra minifig budget, it'd be really cool to include Harumi and her parents like in the building too, kind of tying it into Ninjago history, but going off of the Legends pattern of having a big model and 1 minifig, I think that this makes total sense to include the 1 minifig being Garmadon. Okay, moving on from that, we can take a look at Season 2, The Final Battle, and I'm literally going to call this set The Final Battle. I think it makes sense to include it that. And I'm going to call this our second Ninjago Legends set, so black box with a nice background, coming in at $150. So same price as the Guardian Dragon. And the way I see this would be the the Overlord Dragon, who's perched just right on top of the Garmatron Fortress, facing off against Golden Lloyd, with Dr. Julian as our civilian character down at the bottom watching the spectacle unfold. So there's a couple of reasons why I want this minifig selection. Dr. Julian, for one, is a character that I really want in minifig form. He's pretty much the last minifigure who was important in the Masters of Spinjitzu original era that we don't have as a figure yet, so I feel like it makes total sense to throw him in this set. You can kind of do it like they did with the Fire Night Mech, where you have Kai in the mech fighting a monster, and then you have a civilian on the ground in the boat watching it. That's how I picture this. You've got the Golden Ninja facing off against the Overlord Dragon, and then Dr. Julian just on the ground, like looking up, watching it, everything unfold. I think that'd be really cool. So we did actually get the Overlord Dragon as part of Legacy, and while I do like the set, it is definitely a playscale model. You know, it's kind of small, it's just got like the blades as wings, it's not the most impressive build, so I want a legit, gigantic purple, transparent purple, and black Overlord Dragon. Make it have these giant tattered cloth wings. I just love to see that color scheme, the head with all those teeth, maybe brick build some of the teeth in. That would be really cool as a set depicting the final battle. So that's my pitch. $150. I know we're starting off with some big ones here, but we'll be getting down to some small ones, but that is my pitch for this set. Okay, moving on to Season 3. I went in a bit of a different direction for Season 3, and the reason for that is because I feel like for any anniversary wave, we need a Ninjago City. At a minimum, there needs to be a Ninjago City, and this is not just a wish list, this is also kind of a prediction, because I feel like LEGO would be stupid not to give us a city for the 15th anniversary. So my prediction is that in that city, in some way, we're going to get Borg Tower featured. It makes sense because they've been trying to put it in the last like 3 cities and they just haven't been able to. I think it's kind of long overdue. We get Borg Tower as the centerpiece of that city. And LEGO has explained why they haven't given us a Borg Tower set. In the past, they've said, well, if we did just a Borg Tower set, it would basically be a big gray tower, and it's not that visually interesting. And I get that. So that's why my pitch for this set is Ninjago City Towers, where you have Borg Tower, not the entire thing. I'm thinking the top part and a little bit of the lower part, and then you have a lot of different multicolored towers around it. Like, you just have different colors of towers, so you have that color, you have that vibrance of Ninjago City, but in the centerpiece you do have Borg Tower, kind of making it like look like a triangular like city design. And I'm gonna cost this at $400. We're making this the most expensive Ninjago City set yet, because I feel like for the 15th anniversary, or for any anniversary, you gotta go all out, give us the biggest possible city. So obviously the Borg Tower aspect is somewhat rebooted focused, and I chose rebooted as the one for this because I feel like rebooted kind of has most of its bases covered. Like, we have all of the vehicles, we even got legacy versions of all the vehicles but the Ninjacopter. I can't really think of that many other things I'd want from the season. Like, we have the Temple of Fortitude, we have the actual Ninja Charger, maybe the Ninjroid spaceship. I think the Ninjroid spaceship would have been a cool idea, and that was my other idea for this set, but if I had to pick one of these slots to use for the city, I'd much prefer it being the Borg Tower. So here's what I'm thinking. You have all these different towers and different businesses. Maybe you have like that big robot-shaped tower that we saw in the Ninjago movie. That'd be cool. I'd love to see like a sky train going through it as well. Like, maybe you could have it go past the towers itself, sort of like what we saw in Sons of Garmadon. But first of all, the top part of Borg Tower needs to be detachable. And I will explain why very soon, because I want this set to be modular with another set I'm pitching later in this video. So stay tuned for that, but I want the very top, like the Borg Tower symbol piece, to be removable. Just hang on to that. It's a surprise tool that will help us later. Minifigure-wise, I think that this could be pretty crazy. Like, we could do legacy remakes of the Stone Armor Ninja or the rebooted Ninja. But I think this is our chance to give us ninja in outfits that we have never gotten them in before that could be fun to have around a city. So this is where this set is going to deviate the most from Rebooted and instead draw from all eras of Ninjago history, as an anniversary set should. So I'm thinking, alright, we want all of the main ninja in this set. So I'm going to say Kai in his pajamas outfit. It's kind of like a civilian style outfit in those striped red pajamas, but it's kind of iconic from the first episode of Ninjago when he met the other ninja. We're gonna get Spacesuit Jay because this is tied to Rebooted. I want Jay in the Fritz Donegan style spacesuit that he fought the Ninjroids in. I think that'd be really cool, and then you could do it so that you could then just buy multiple copies of that suit and have all the Spacesuit Ninja. I then want Zane in his tea uniform, because it could make sense to have him on the city streets, advertising Master Wu's Steep Wisdom tea shop from Season 5. I think that'd be really cool to have, just as a civilian outfit for him. A Royal Blacksmith version of Cole, so Cole in that episode where the ninja were performing on stage, they were playing the Weekend Whip and the ninja were dancing, and Cole does the Triple Tiger Sachet. Again, a very iconic outfit that feels like it is a civilian outfit, not a fighting outfit, that makes sense to have in a city. And then for the one ninja outfit, because I feel like all the cities, like, they have to have like one ninja outfit. I'd love to see a modern Green Ninja ZX version of Lloyd. Like, use the Praetorian Guard armor in gunmetal gray and give him like a specialized ninja hood that's just kind of a recolor of maybe the elemental mech hood could work. But I'd love to see like just a modern version of the ZX suit. Like, make it look like his original Green Ninja suit. That'd be a great one to get for Legacy. And then finally, I want to get Nia that was introduced in Rebooted, again tying back to Rebooted, in her casual outfit, which we saw in Ninjago Rebooted, and she wore for like 5 or like 3 more seasons afterwards. Like, we saw it in Season 4. I think she had it in Season 5 as well, but we never got it as a minifigure. So I'd love to see that. And she had it in Season 6 too. So that as a minifig would be great. And then I kind of just went crazy. I was like, what are some minifigs that we really want to get that we still are missing from Ninjago? I'm like, well, we need Mr. Frohickey. I don't know if it makes sense to put him here or put him in a monastery, but since the monastery set that we're getting to is going to be very specifically focused on one season that isn't Dragon's Rising, I said, you know what, throw Mr. Frohickey in the city, call it like part of the Crossroads. I'd love a casual frack with the head without the mask. They should be able to do it. I want a regular frack head with pupils, not with the ninja hood. So I want to see that. I think an accurate Mistake would be good, like a Mistake in her regular outfit that we saw in Season 9 Hunted. Technically, we did get Mistake in a Ninjago City dock set, but it barely looked like her at all. It was like Mistake in name only because it was for the movie, so I legit want a regular Mistake, and that could be like someone in a city. I want a Borg Tower guard. So if you know, like in a Crystallized, or I think in Season 10 as well, you have like policemen in Borg outfit uniforms guarding Borg Tower. So you kind of need that for Borg Tower. You would have the elevators as a feature in it. Maybe a fun feature where you pull a lever and the elevator like drops down and crashes, because that happened like twice in the show. So that'd be super cool to get. A place where you can see like the Digital Overlord hard drive underneath Borg Tower. You have the main command area as well. Digiverse chairs. And then of course you would need to have a white Ninjroid as well as a security drone, and this would be a really good chance to bring back that Ninjroid armor and give us a white Ninjroid, so if you want to get one, you don't have to spend those crazy prices to get the Bricktober version of the white Cryptor. Of course, you would need to have a version of Cyrus Borg, and I was thinking about this because we did just get Cyrus Borg. Maybe they could remake the Overborg version and make him like a legacy Overborg, or just include that same minifig again. I mean, it would be a little bit strange for a city to include the same minifig another city just had though. So I don't know, I would have to think about that one. If you have any suggestions, Borg doesn't really wear any other outfits, so I don't know if it would make sense. And lastly, it'd be really cool to include one of the mechs we saw in Crystallized, like the Ultraviolet mech or the Ronin mech from Crystallized, where they could actually have like a little core mech to fight in, just flying off to the side, which obviously was made in Borg Tower, so that would make sense. I wrote down a list of other characters that could make sense in a city that I would like Bonzel, Sally, Antonia, Ericor the Djinn, Bob the Intern. Fidulian would be good because he's kind of in a city setting. Gandalaria is another like big character we need to get. Hailmar, because I want to see someone from Shintaro. Lee, I think Lee is kind of a lock. For like the next city set, Lee can be made out of existing pieces, and we know LEGO will jump at the opportunity to just put together a minifigure out of existing parts, so I feel like Lee is a lock. Kataru would be good. Labo, I want to see them do Labo using the Technic sphere elements. They could totally do it because they print on those now. We just got a Harry Potter set with the printed Aunt Marge, I think is her name, and the Privet's Drive Visit, and just do Labo with those two spheres. You could make him. I was actually telling Doc White about that. I was like, Doc, ask them to do Labo using those pieces, because they could do them now. We could get like a Lava Tide as a new mold. Obviously, this is getting into crazy wish list territory, but Lau, Cole's father, would be nice. Lou or Lau. Shifty, Cecil Putnam from the Explorers Club. And finally, I think it'd be cool to have a Golden Master Overlord minifigure in this set as like the villain figure, because obviously, he's very iconic to Rebooted, and he really played a big role in that final Borg Tower battle. So just another minifigure using the new skirt piece, Golden Armor Overlord, would be perfect. Okay. Moving on, let's take a look at my Season 4 pick, and that is Chen's Steamboat, and I think this could come in at around like $70 US. So this is a very iconic boat that I think would make a beautiful Lego set, like a paddle boat. We did just get a river steamboat, but not as big as that. I want like something a little smaller for Chen's Steamboat from Tournament of Elements, and I feel like there's a lot of really cool things that we could get in this set that we're still missing, like an all-silver full metal Karloff is 100% my number one minifigure I want from there. And then finally, while it doesn't really make sense in the timeline, they could finally give us an Anachondri version of Master Chen. So Chen in his snake form. I would love to see a Legacy Klaus as well, which they could easily do just by new prints. They don't need any new molds for that. It'd be cool to get a new mold for a small Pythor, like a little snake you could have a minifigure hold in their hands, and then they could reuse that for other themes as well. Like, I'm sure they could use it for D&D or Harry Potter or stuff like that. So I'd love a new like small Pythor mold, an Anachondri version of Skylar, an Anachondri version of Garmadon, and then maybe you just throw in like a Legacy version of Tournament Kai to fight them. You know, just kind of round out that minifig selection there. But since we have all the Elemental Masters, I think it does make sense to do a version of one, Karloff, that is a fan favorite. A lot of people want to see him again who missed out on him the first time, and they never did a full silver version, so that makes total sense to me. For the Steamboat itself, I think having a function where you roll it on the ground and have the paddle actually spin would be really cool. Maybe even have like the smokestacks move up and down. I'm thinking do a similar scale as the Walt Disney Steamboat that we got from Ideas. Like, that would be a perfect scale for this, and I think that would be a really good set. But now let's move on to Season 5, Possession. Okay, so my pick for Possession is the Preeminent. It is a main villain boss that we still have never gotten in physical form, and I think they could do this at around $60 US, maybe even 50. The image that I have in mind is literally the Brick Legends mock of the Preeminent. It feels like a Lego set, it plays like a Lego set, it could be a little bit more stable, but that is exactly what I want out of a Preeminent model. It accomplishes literally everything I could possibly want it to do. So literally just make that. Make your own version of that, but just make that. And I don't really have much else to say. It is the Preeminent with the City of Styx attached to it. It would make for a really, really cool final boss sort of battle set. Now, minifigure-wise, I think it'd be cool to have Casual Lloyd in the outfit that he wore in Skybound, actually, where he has, like, the green jacket with, like, a symbol on the back, and he also wore it in this episode when Nia had the green ninja gi, and that's exactly the second minifig I want. I want Nia in the green ninja gi. So make a Legacy version of Lloyd in his Possession garb, but put the Nia head on it, you know? Like, make it be a little bit more unique, and that way you could also just have a Legacy Possession Lloyd if you wanted to swap the heads. For the villain minifigures, I think it makes sense to have Morrow. Obviously, just like they could reuse the Morrow minifigure that they had just last year, or the year prior, this year now. I don't think they would make another one, just reuse that Morrow minifigure, and include a Ghost Warrior as well. I think it'd be cool to just get like a single Ghost Warrior to go alongside there. If they had the extra budget, maybe include Wu, but that could be one or the other. You know, I'm really trying to be realistic in what we're getting here. Moving on to the next one, we have a small set for Season 6, because I couldn't really think of anything we were missing. We did get a second wave of Skybound, which covered like everything else we'd want, and that's why I want them to give us the Fusion Dragon. I think they could do that for a smaller dragon set, $30. And the reason why is I like the original Jay's Lightning Dragon, but it was designed as Jay's Dragon. It wasn't designed as a fusion between lightning and water, which is what it was in the show. So I feel like they could just take the idea of a lightning and water fusion dragon and make it very clearly a fusion between these two characters, you know? Make one side clearly a water side and one side clearly a lightning side. I think that'd be really cool to be able to do the concept justice, because the set never really was a Jay and Nia set. So I think obviously what you do here is give us Jay with an eye patch, give us Nia in the Airjitzu gi, obviously make it Legends, so don't just bring it back the old minifigs, but make a Legends or Legacy version of them, and then for the villain, just make a new Nauticon, you know? You want the girl? I can make it happen. Wish it all away. You know, I would like to see Nauticon in a minifigure form again. I have never seen a more beautiful bride. You know, maybe not that scene though. That was a little problematic. But actually just having a Nauticon minifigure, again, would be really cool, and they could just do it using like the 4-armed extra edition, make a legacy version of him, and that's super simple. If they have extra budget, you know, throw Flintlock in there as well, or do Clancy, and you can make a new mold for Frack, and then just use it for Clancy as well, so you could use it for a new type of Serpentine with pupils. I don't know how they would do that, but just Nauticon, Eye Patch, Jay, and Nia would be perfect for this, and we can move on. Okay, for Day of the Departed, I think it'd be really good to get a remake of the Temple of Airjitzu, and let's call this $200. The Temple of Airjitzu is the Ninjago D2C set that started it all. It was our very first Ninjago set that was aimed towards slightly older kids. It was the first time we ever got a D2C for Ninjago, and it was a sign that the fans were growing up, and Ninjago was going to be giving us some more serious builds. So I'd love to see them try to tackle it and maybe make a fully enclosed version, you know? Make it like the Tournament Temple City, but put the rest of the parts of the base into making it be fully enclosed and be a beautiful Ninjago like red and black temple. I think that'd be really cool. I think the time is right to give us something like that. And then you could include a human version of Sensei Yang, which could be really cool, like a flashback human version, or do the ghost version. I don't know, do one or the other. Some ghost students as well would be really nice, like 2 copies of those. Cole with his lava arms would be perfect, and then I think this is an opportunity to give us those old villains. So do Chen, Cryptor, Pythor, Kozu, Maro, and Samakai. And that way, you have an excuse to use Samakai in 2 sets. If you make a new mold for him, you wouldn't just have to be in the Golden Weapon set. You could also include him in this set, and then you could also include Chen in this set, who would appear in the Steamboat. You would include Maro in this set again. And so you're reusing some of these minifigures, so it makes more sense for the budget to have them be used in 2 sets. Now, the interior, I would like to see some even more show-accurate details. So I'd love to see that room with like the swords mounted on the walls and the shrine where like the swords were chasing the ninja out of the room. It'd be cool to have a room with like the room where the water overflowed, and then you could have like the ninja kind of fighting their way out of the water. And then of course you have some rooms where they were living in there, like Sensei Wu's bed. You could do that for Hands of Time. Some of the training grounds on the grounds of the temple. I think that'd be really cool. So a remake of the Temple of Airjitzu would be awesome. And then we move on to Season 7. And for Season 7, my pick is just give us a legit Iron Doom. I like the original Iron Doom set enough, but we have seen what a giant version of this model could be, and I think they could do it much more justice nowadays. Make it like a $60 set, no need to go super crazy, like $60 for a big Iron Doom. No need to have like the Swamp side build, we can get rid of that. Just focus the set on the Iron Doom. And you could do it with Kai and Nia, of course. I would love to see Crux and Acronix, but I would also love to see Dr. Saunders, which is Crux in disguise, and inside the base of the Iron Doom, it'd be really cool to like turn a gear and have like a very simple, like sort of like a Bruce Wayne Batman transformation, where you have Dr. Saunders going in and it turns around and then Crux jumps out. I think that'd be a really cool transformation feature. They could do the beard piece for Dr. Saunders, which could be really fun. So would love to see that, and then like throw in like 1 Vermilion Warrior. You know, doesn't need to be crazy. Just give us a single Vermilion Warrior and that would be pretty nice. Okay. Moving on to Season 8, I actually was of 2 minds for Season 8, and I finally landed. Actually, I was talking to Sean Bricks My Mind about this, and he convinced me that this was a better set to get, and I agree with him. My original idea was a Royal Palace invasion for like $90, but he was like, well, what if you got the Oni Temple instead? Where this could also double as a crystallized set as well, where you get the full Oni Temple with the giant Oni face built in, but it is a Season 8 focus set. And I said, yeah, you know what, since it is a legacy wave and we're drawing from the full history of Ninjago, I could see that. I would like to see that. So Oni Temple, I would love to see the casual Harumi reuse the torso they did for casual Harumi last year, but instead give her with a hood. So introduce the hood element, so give her like the dark green hood that we saw, and please print the legs. Please give us leg printing for casual Harumi. I think it takes a lot away from the figure that it doesn't have leg printing, so I'd love to see that with printed legs. Give us casual Lloyd, and the version I'm thinking of is Lloyd with that gray jacket he wore in the early version of Sons of Garmadon, where he was going around with Harumi. Like, just give us a different variant of the character that we saw from the show, you know, something else that we just haven't seen normally. They could do a normal Green Ninja Lloyd as well, but I think Casual Lloyd would be good because they're kind of exploring this temple. And then I'd love to see Kilo back as a big fig, especially because he's like one of the most expensive Ninjago minifigs now. I don't know if they would do him again, but it would be really cool to see Kilo just make a return, like make a new big fig mold for him and have him be with the Oni mask, and they could even just use the Thanos mold for him with the regular minifig head or the Hulk mold and just put in the head on. So would love to see that. Baby Wu, of course, would be really, really nice, like the toddler Wu version, so actually giving us like the Grogu style of minifigure, but for Wu, and do a special print on it would be super, super cool. Bonus points if he has a little hood like he wore in Hunted as well. I think that'd be very nice. And finally, I mean, if this is a big, big set, I would love to see the interior have that area where they kind of have to balance on the pillars. And on the inside, actually having a shrine where maybe there's a play feature where if you take the Oni mask from the shrine, then it causes some, like, maybe a wall to fall over or some water to fall in, just like you saw when Harumi smashed the walls. That'd be super cool. So, would love to see that. Minifigure wise, I mean, Ultraviolet as well, maybe, if we're gonna have Ultraviolet. It'd be good to get Mr. E again as well. And if they wanted to, do a side build of the Crab Monster too. For 90 bucks, you could do a lot with this. Like, have the main temple, and then have the Crab Monster side builds, or throw in one or two of the other ninja fighting against the Crab Monster. But then we can move on to Season 9, and here is where the set synergy is coming in, because I always love it when LEGO sets are modular with each other. So my pitch for this is Borg Tower Battle. $30, and it's literally just the top of Borg Tower that is the destroyed version. It's kind of got like the black goo all over it, it's got purple lights, it's partially destroyed, and you have it modular, so you can swap it in and out with, if you buy the big Ninjago City that has your big Borg Tower, you can swap out both of these tower pieces so you can have either the destroyed version or the regular version. I think that'd be really, really cool to have that synergy, and it's a simple $30 set. All you need to do is include 3 minifigs, Lloyd, Golden Armor Wu, and Garmadon. Again, these are all legacy versions of the characters, so they're slightly different, but they're inspired by those outfits that we got. And that's it. It's super simple. Just give Wu the dragon sword, the dragon armor, and all that. Have Garmadon there in his evil Oni form, and that would be, or like the Oni Garmadon, the evil Garmadon form, and I think that'd be really, really cool. And then we move on to Season 10, and this is actually going alongside the same exact concept of, what if we could take a set and combine it with another one? I saw a really cool concept on Instagram actually where, I'm gonna have to look it up again, where a Ninjago fan had made a proposed series of custom sets. And one of those sets was, what if the front gates of the monastery was like a small set, and then you have the back of the monastery as its own set by itself, and you could combine them into the full monastery. And I thought, that's a genius idea, you know? The monastery itself is absolutely massive, so why don't you split it into 2 sets? Give us the back part of the monastery, the iconic part with a full interior, and then do the gates. So my pitch for Season 10 is Battle at the Monastery Gates. $25, it's one of the smallest sets here, but it does feature just those gates that open up, the shrine at the top, maybe just 2 sections of the wall, and then you include minifigures of Lloyd, of course, for Season 10, Omega, the Oni. I want the Oni form of Garmadon. I want the 4-armed Oni Garmadon. Give us a legit Oni Garmadon in the full form. Obviously, it wasn't accurate to that scene, but you know what? For the crystallized, give him the wings as well. Like, give him the bat wings that Oni Garmadon had. And also just do it in the full-on legit form with an extra torso on top. And then, I would also want to get a minifigure of Faith. Faith is a really important character across the entire Oni trilogy, and we did get Heavy Metal as a minifigure, but we never got a regular Faith, like, head print for the face. So, do Faith, those are the 4 minifigures, make it like a battle between the heroes and villains facing off against Omega the Oni, and call it good at that, the Monastery Gates. And now let's move on to Season 11. Okay, so my idea for Season 11 is a bit of a strange one, and let me explain. So Doc Wyatt recently teased on Twitter that we might be seeing Akita come back in some form next year. He didn't say how, he just said we know what her fate is. I mean, for all we know, we're gonna find out she's dead or something, but he kind of hinted at maybe seeing Akita back. So I started thinking, well, if we do see Akita back, what set could we get? My initial pitch for the set was something entirely different, but after seeing him post that, I changed my idea to a remake of Lloyd's Titan Mech, and let me explain why, for $100. The Titan Mech series is basically showing the best of the best. For whatever the year is, this is the very best mech we can make. Cole's Titan Mech is maybe the best Ninjago mech ever, with sliding knee plates, it's got dual pistons, fully articulated arms, double jointed so you can really bend them up, rotate them around, the wings on the back. It is genuinely phenomenal. It's a feat of engineering. Even Jay's Titan Mech, it's really cool. It's got the knees, it has such a unique design to it. It feels like the best mech we could have gotten at that time, you know? We've been getting these phenomenal Titan mechs, but Lloyd's Titan Mech is one that came out in 2019, and it feels very much a product of its time. The aesthetics are really nice, but it really feels like this set is in dire need of an upgrade. Now you're probably thinking, well, why don't we get a Kai's Titan Mech, you know? And I think we should, but I think we should save Kai's Titan Mech for something like, maybe like the final season of Dragon's Rising, you know? Make that like go all out, make us like the most ultimate, the biggest Ninjago mech ever. Make that Kai's Titan Mech for the Dragon's Rising finale, whenever that is. Nia's Titan Mech, focus one of the seasons on her. You know, give us Nia's Titan Mech then. But when you line up all the Titan Mechs next to each other, it's Lloyd's Titan Mech that feels very lacking as a build just because of the building techniques at the time. So I want them to give us a remake of Lloyd's Titan Mech with full-on knees, with piston articulation on the feet, with fully articulated arms, with a full-on giant sword. I would love to see that, and you only need to do 2 minifigs. Just do Lloyd and Akita. Call it good, focus the build on the mech, and just give us the best version of Lloyd's Titan Mech possible. So I said $100, call it good at that. Okay. Moving on to Season 12. I was very stuck on what to do for Season 12. It's honestly one of my least favorite seasons, so I was feeling a little less inspired, to be honest, but then I initially had an idea. I was like, well, why don't we do like a minifigure pack? You know, like do one of those, like kind of like we got the Gamers Market, make it a PvP arena for like $35, and here's all the minifigs we should get. And then Sean had a really good idea. He was like, no, wait. What if we got the Mechanics truck instead? And I said, oh, actually, that works for Legacy because it's Chen's noodle truck, so it works for a Tournament of Elements, but it also works to represent Season 12 as well, and we could get an actual fully show-accurate mechanic minifigure. So the more I thought about it, the more I liked the idea, and I said, let's do it. The Mechanics truck heist, $30. It is the Master Chen noodle truck, but you have a feature where these robotic arms can be removed from the inside of the truck. Maybe do something like we got, obviously not fully show accurate, but make it a good toy to play with, where back in Space Police 3, we had a container truck that split open and a big gun came out of the top. I want to do that for this. I want the Mechanics truck to split open and have robot arms come out of the top. You could have a suction arm, a claw arm, and have those be fully articulatable. That would be so much fun to do. And the minifigures, my idea for this is you do the mechanic, of course, because that's kind of what started off Prime Empire. Throw one of the Prime Empire arcade machines in the back of the truck like he's hauling it. Do a special print on a tile for the motherboard of the Prime Empire motherboard. And then have him facing off against Jay and Nia. And if you really want to, put Nia on a silver motorcycle, because then you could have it called back to the absolute worst episode of Season 11, the absolute worst, where Nia was fighting the mechanic in the truck in the story he was telling, and she had this silver bike she was driving. So I think that'd be pretty perfect. If you're curious, my idea for a battle arena for could be for like Digi Lloyd, Avatar Harumi back. Digi Zane is a minifigure that I really want to get that they never actually made, so it'd be cool to get a non-canon Digi J. An actual accurate Racer 7 would be good as well, but honestly, I like the idea of the Mechanics truck heist a lot better, so let's keep it at that. If you wanted to, you could even do a side build of like an ATM built into a building that you can attach one of the arms to, and as you drive away, you like rip the ATM out of the building. That could be really cool. Or make that the game, like the arcade machine. Rip the arcade machine out of the building. Okay, but moving on from that, we go on to Season 13, Master of the Mountain. And to me, this was super obvious what the set should be. As opposed to some of the seasons where I was like really struggling to think like, what could a set be? This is what I want. It's the lava monster attack. And so my idea is $40, and it's basically the lava monster versus the Upply. We have seen a brick-built version of the lava monster in the LEGO Fortnite video game recently, which is pretty crazy to see that. I want to see a full set based off of this, and it's super easy, right? Coal, Plundar, Fungus, Korgran, and a regular King Vangelis. All you need, you could even lose King Vangelis. I don't really care that much. It'd be nice to get him, but we could lose him. Maybe replace him with like a Shintaro Guard or Hailmar if he doesn't come in the city, because I do really want to see denizens of Shintaro made as minifigures, because we are missing those. But we need the Upply in minifig form. And they could do it like such that they're, like, I'm trying to think of a realistic way to do the Upply, right? Fungus. Give him the big wizard hat dual mold. It doesn't need to be a new mold. Just give him the wizard hat. Call it good, right? You can make the rest of the characters pretty well. Korgran could use the axe that we just got introduced, the new axe piece from the D&D collectible minifig series. You know, give us that style of axe. It looks close enough. So I would love to see that as a set. Great big lava monster versus the Upply and Cole. Maybe have one of the Shintaro guards helping them, or King Vangelis fighting against them. Alright, moving on from that, for the island, I'm thinking we just have the wooden Wojira boat. You know, $50, a fun wooden Wojira boat playset. Have it be like this whole wooden monstrosity of a boat where you've got like the big Wojira head. It's all like brown and teal. And for the minifigures, we could have, of course, Ronin piloting the boat, Chief Romatis. And my idea for Jay here is do a Gift of Jay version of Jay. So I want to have like a printed lay on his torso there to have the Gift of Jay kind of aesthetic to him. Maybe even do like a dual molded hairpiece that's special with like flowers in his hair. I don't know, something like that. And then just Island Lloyd with the face print. Again, these are all legacy versions of the characters, but that's what I want to see out of this. Moving on from that, we have Season 14, and this is our final Ninjago Legend set. And I want to call this set Wrath of Wojira for $120. This is the Wrath of Wojira. We did get a brick-built Wojira, but similar to the Great Devourer, I want to see this actually done justice. So my idea for the set is you include one, maybe two minifigs, but Energy Nia with actual fully transparent legs, do both transparent arms, transparent head, transparent hair, do like a legit Energy Nia. You know, the one we got was okay and it looks good with like the water trail underneath, but I want to see a legit, like more transparent version of that character. So Energy Nia, maybe throw in Kalmar as well, because it'd be cool to get like a show accurate one with the pupils looking the right way. And my idea is like you have a giant Wojira rising from the water. Maybe you have it wrapped around a partially destroyed building like the police station with maybe you throw the commissioner in there, you know, the police commissioner. If you don't have him in the city, throw him in this set, but if you don't, have it be going around the building. Now you might be wondering, well, this is sort of similar to the Great Devourer set. It's wrapped around a building and facing off against a minifigure, and I agree. So to make this different, I think you want to focus on the fact that Ninjago City is flooded. So you have it rising up from the water, you know, make it such that there's like water churning around it, a big splash, kind of brick-built waves where the water and the monster is emerging from the water, and maybe you do like it versus the water dragon. So you have Nia in water dragon form fighting each other and make it a more expensive set, or just Nia like lunging through the air at the Great Wojira build. I think that would be really cool to get as a set, and I'd love to see that as a build. Okay, and then finally we get to Season 15, which is the Fall of the Monastery. $80, and I want this to be, again, the second half of that Monastery set I was talking about. We get the gates for Season 10, then we get the rest of the Monastery for Season 15. And it's pretty perfect because, obviously, both of those were finales of their respective eras, so it makes sense to bookend things with the Monastery, and I want a play feature where you push a button and, like, the Monastery can be blown up and fire erupts, and you can use this as a play feature for both Season 15, but also Season 1, Rise of the Snakes, when the snakes burnt down the Monastery. That'd be pretty perfect to have like that fire pop up from the monastery, and it'd be really cool to have an interior which shows the samurai cave interior. So that big computer screen that we always see, it's still relevant in the show today. Maybe have some Dragon's Rising love in there and do a portal gate, you know? You could do something like that. So I would love to see this. Minifigure wise, I think it's pretty easy. Wu, the mechanic, King Vangelis, which you could reuse, again, reuse that minifigure if you do have him in the 13 set as well. Asphira in her regular form, another minifig we really want that we've never gotten that's very prominent. of course Pythor, and I would also love to see Kabuki Mask Harumi, you know, like Harumi in the Kabuki Mask disguise. Obviously she wasn't in the scene, but to represent Crystallize and given that it was her attack, you know, throw her in the set. Maybe throw in Mr. F as well in his standard like Ninjaroid format before getting crystallized, and then do Nia and Skylar, so really recreate that scene. I would love to see that. Maybe the one thing you'd say like, well, there's not enough ninja in this set, it's a very villain focused set for it to be the Monastery, but make it like a siege, you know, Nia, Skylar, and Wu are defending the Monastery from all these villains. I feel like that's a cool idea, so I would love to see that. $80 is maybe pushing it for that many minifigs and that big of a build, so you can make it $90, but I was just trying to make it as realistic as possible. Okay, now we go to my idea for Dragons Rising Season 1, and I want this set to be, again, similar to the City set, bridging a lot of different eras. So I'm going to call it the Cloud Kingdom Showdown. We never really got a full-on set based on the Cloud Kingdom, and this can solve that. For $50, I'm thinking of the front gate, maybe like a nice little Monastery sort of like Cloud Kingdom build, a little bit of interior, but mostly focus on the battle happening outside. It'll be probably like a facade, more like, but again, that's realistic given the constraints. And what you do is you have Kai and Nia. I want Euphrasia in the original outfit for the Cloud Monk sort of design. Suetonius would be good, and then throw in Fenwick and Nobu as well from the original Season 5 era. You know, they were Cloud Monks, so you kind of throw them in as well. And maybe if you really want to, do some tie-in back to Season 5, do like a side build of one of the flying boats, and throw in Nimbus as well, the big monster that chases them. So make it both a Season 5 and a Dragons Rising Season 1 set. I think that could be really cool. Or if you want to focus it just on Dragons Rising, get rid of the other characters, and do a big purple tentacle wrapping around the building that the ninja have to fight off. I think that'd be really fun. And finally, we can move on to Dragons Rising Season 2, and my idea for a set here is just call it Tournament of the Sources. We did just get the Tournament Temple City, and yes, we did just get a Tournament Battlegrounds, but I would love to see an actual full-on tournament build. Give us the bleachers the minifigs could watch from. Give us one of the unique arenas, like one of the sky arenas or the switch toggling arenas, you know? Something more unique like that, and then a temple backdrop in the background, because we can always add on to the Tournament Temple idea, and this is primarily going to be a way for us to get a ton of minifigures. So I want Zeatrix. I want, obviously they throw in Noct again, but with a cape this time. It'd be cool to get Kizzy, give us a mold for one of the tides, like a lava tide or a water tide, and then they could reuse it in the city or in the future. Frack in his Wolf Clan outfit, so you have the Shatterspin armor, but you have a head, which is with the right printing, so again, you can reuse that head if you put him in one of the earlier sets, and then just throw in like all the other ones, you know? Gorge, Mord, Algu, Teak, Arc Crack, so you could do a similar construction to like the Harry Potter, like big ant with the Technic spheres, sort of similar to Labo. We could do Arc Crack as that. I want Zur, and of course Geo. We need a Geo minifigure, so this is the perfect set to put him in. Do a Geo minifigure. I know you have to make a new mold for the molded ears on the side of the head, but I don't know, maybe do them without ears. I'd be like okay with that. It wouldn't be perfect, but it'd be close enough. Just make Geo, please, Xantans, and then Sora because she won, and throw in Lloyd as well. You know, this is a very unrealistic minifigure selection. I think this is the most unrealistic set out of all of them, but for me personally, as a fan of the tournaments and wanting to get those minifigures, that's the dream set, but I know it never happened. Like, we're in pipe dream territory. We're in Lego Dreams territory right here. And then finally, we get to Dragons Rising Season 3, and I had a couple ideas for what this set could be, but some of them get into spoiler territory, so my idea for this is just do Thunderfang again, but make it a Spectral Thunderfang. I guess that yes, we did just get Thunderfang, and you can power him up with the actual kind of the Decay Dragon bones you can add onto him, but I'd love to see a Thunderfang that has like a blue and a black color scheme as opposed to the red and purple color scheme we got, because he looks very different in the Spectral lands in his ghost form, so I'd love to see them maybe do like a recolor set, like literally re-release Thunderfang, but in a different color scheme, because they've been doing some recolored sets recently. You know, we got the Miles Morales bust, that's just a recolored Spider-Man helmet. We got the Parrots and Creator recolored. Do a recolored Thunderfang, same price, same everything, and then minifigs just do a spectral version of some of the Forbidden Five, like a Spectral Noct, a Spectral Kerr, maybe a Spectral, what, I don't care who it is. Some of the Spectral Forbidden Five, and then have him facing off against Lloyd. I think that'd be perfect, call it good at that, and that's our set. Okay. And with that, we have summed up my dream Ninjago wave, all 21 sets. And I'm super curious, what would be your dream wave? Like, if you had to pick one set per media installment, what would it be? Do you agree with my choices here? Do you think that maybe I should have focused in on something else? I'm super curious to what everybody wants to say about these, because I have a lot of love for Ninjago, a lot of passion for it, and this is what I would love to see. Obviously, for the 15th anniversary, it looks like we're mostly getting Dragon's Rising Season 4 sets, and then we're getting some anniversary sets here and there, right? Like, we have 3 rumored, we've got like the 4 weapons Blacksmith, we have Old Village rumored, which I think might be Jamanakai Village, so that'd be really cool. I didn't even think of Jamanakai Village to consider for this, but I mean, I would love to see, imagine if we got Jamanakai Village, but in the time of the Serpentine Wars. So we get some of the old Elemental Masters, it could tie into that comic series, Serpentine Strike, that'd be really, really cool. Base it off of that flashback scene, oh my god, I would kill for that. It's probably not gonna be, but hey, a man can dream. And then we have like this like collectible Ninjago minifigure stand sort of thing, where I'm thinking maybe that could be like a big brick-built Ninjago logo, and they do collectible versions of the ninja around it. I don't know what that's gonna look like, but that would be really cool to see. That's what's rumored. But again, it's nothing like this. It's not like we're getting a set based off of every single one of the old seasons. So this is definitely like a pipe dream list, and maybe one more appropriate for a bigger anniversary, like the 20th anniversary, where we go all out with celebrating the history. But as it is right now, those are my wishes. Hopefully, I'll meet a Jin someday so he can make my wish mine to keep. I don't know what kind of stipulation to have on them. Like, maybe Nadakon would come over and be like, your wish is yours to keep, but now all these sets are like $1,000 each. And I'd be like, okay, well, you know what? At least we get the sets. But that's all for this video. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with this list. Thank you so much for watching. I know this was a bit of a longer one. That's kind of like not really a video I normally do, which is like what I would like to see, but I just felt so excited, so passionate coming out of Brickworld for Ninjago's anniversary next year, and I thought this would be my dream want list for Ninjago. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon, and bye for now.